Emily, I whispered as I stepped off the elevator, my keys trembling in my hand. The lobby smelled faintly of roses someone had left at the front desk, a soft reminder that it was Valentine's Day. I grinned, imagining her surprise. She's going to love this, I murmured to myself. I heard the faint clatter of dishes from the apartment above. My heart raced. Okay, Alex, I muttered, trying to steady my breathing. Just a normal greeting. Act casual. Don't let her see how excited you are. I reached the door and paused. I could see through the small window, her silhouette framed by the soft glow of the living room lights. My stomach twisted in anticipation. Hey, beautiful, I whispered, stepping closer. The door was unlocked. I pushed it gently, expecting her to leap into my arms. But the apartment was quiet. Empty. My brow furrowed. Emily? I called softly. The faint clinking of cutlery sounded again, then silence. Maybe she's cooking something fancy. Yeah, that's it. She loves to make things perfect for special days. I hung my jacket and glanced around the apartment. Nothing seemed out of place. I walked toward the living room, my heart beating faster with each step. A faint shadow flickered across the window, but I shook my head. It's nothing, I muttered. Just nerves. You're fine, Alex. Then I heard it, a soft laugh, distant but unmistakably hers. My chest tightened, memories flooding back. God, I've missed that laugh, I whispered. Even through these months, it's just her. I closed my eyes and tried to imagine the perfect evening. Candles flickering on the table, a bottle of wine chilled to perfection, music softly playing. She's going to think I planned all of this, I chuckled quietly. Worth it. Alex, is that you? Her voice called from the kitchen. Yes. I yelled, grinning like a fool. I'm home finally. A soft, sweet voice floated back. You're back. Oh my God, I missed you so much. I walked into the kitchen and saw her for the first time in months. Emily. Her hair pulled up messily, a few strands falling across her face, and a warm smile that could melt any tension. You look amazing, I said, trying to keep my composure. You too, she replied, rushing to hug me. I can't believe you're here. I wasn't expecting. She stopped, eyes sparkling, and I felt a surge of love. Wow. You made it. I promised, didn't I? I said, holding her close. Nothing could stop me. Not work, not traffic, not anything. She laughed, a sound so familiar and comforting. I can't believe you remembered Valentines, she teased. I wouldn't forget for the world, I said, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. You mean too much. She stepped back, still holding my hands. I missed you so much, Alex. The apartment felt empty without you. I missed you too, Emily. Every day, I admitted, feeling my chest tighten. You don't know how much I thought about this moment. Her eyes softened, and for a moment, everything else disappeared. The months apart, the business trips, the stress, they all melted into the warmth of this hug. I was counting the days, she whispered. I was counting too, I said quietly. Even when things got rough, I kept thinking about us. About this right now. She smiled, biting her lip. You're so cheesy, you know that? I'll take cheesy if it means I get you, I said, grinning. We laughed, but then I noticed it, a faint movement near the window behind the couch. My brow furrowed. Wait, did you see that? I asked, trying to sound casual. See what? She asked, tilting her head. Nothing, I said quickly. Probably just my imagination. I forced a smile, but my heart skipped. Shadows shouldn't move like that. Just nerves. Big night, you know? Emily reached up and touched my face. You're finally home, that's all that matters, she said softly. Yeah, I whispered, letting the tension ease a little. Yeah, that's all that matters. I glanced one last time toward the window. The shadow was gone. I shook my head, forcing myself to focus on her, on the warmth in her eyes. Tonight, I thought, tonight will be perfect. I pulled her close again and we laughed, talked, and held each other, the city's Valentine's lights glowing faintly through the window. I didn't notice the unease creeping at the edges of my mind, the tiny spark of doubt I pushed away. For now, I let myself be happy. Come on, I said, smiling. Let's make this a Valentine's to remember. Her smile was radiant. Let's. And in that moment, I believed nothing could ruin it. I pressed my hand against the cold glass of the lobby window, my eyes widening in disbelief. No, that can't be her, I whispered to myself. Emily stood there, bathed in the soft red and pink glow of the Valentine's lights strung across the lobby. She was smiling, laughing even, but it wasn't for me. Her hand was in someone else's, Jake's. I blinked, thinking I was seeing things. Emily? I muttered, my voice barely audible. She tilted her head and laughed again. Jake, you're ridiculous, she said, the sound like a dagger to my chest. Jake's hand tightened around hers. And you love it, he replied, smirking. Confident. Comfortable. My stomach twisted. No, I whispered, stepping back. My heart was pounding so loudly I could barely hear anything else. This isn't real. She wouldn't. I gripped my coat tighter, leaning closer to the glass, trying to process the scene. They looked so natural together. My brain refused to accept it. Emily had told me she loved me, that we were special. Was it all lies? I muttered. I saw her glance toward the window. My blood ran cold. She didn't see me yet, I whispered. I should leave. Run. But my legs refused to move. My fists clenched at my sides. Jake laughed, leaning casually against the wall. You're tense, he said. Relax. It's Valentine's. You're making it dramatic. Emily giggled, brushing a loose strand of hair behind her ear. You're right. I'm sorry. I like it when you tease me. I could feel my chest tightening, my hands trembling. How long? I whispered to myself. A week? A month? All these months? The thought made my head spin. I gave everything. My voice cracked and I swallowed hard, trying not to make a sound. Jake, you're impossible, Emily said softly. She looked at him the way she had once looked at me, warm, adoring. But now it was him. Not me. Exactly why you love me, he said. And that smile, the arrogance, the certainty, it burned into my soul. I took a step back, bumping into the wall behind me. This can't be happening. Not today. Not Valentine's, I muttered, my mind racing. Emily laughed again, a sound that had once made my heart melt. Now it cut me open. I can't believe this, I whispered, feeling dizzy. My throat felt tight, my legs weak. I pressed my forehead against the cold glass, trying to calm myself. Think, Alex, think, I muttered. But there was nothing to think. Nothing could erase what I was seeing. Emily leaned closer to Jake, her lips brushing his cheek lightly. My knees buckled. She kissed him, I whispered. My world tilted sideways. I wanted to scream, to run in and tear him away. But some small frozen part of me, froze me in place. My hands were shaking so badly I had to grip the glass to steady myself. Emily, I whispered, barely audible, though I knew she couldn't hear me. I trusted you. She laughed again, this time at something he said, and my chest felt like it had been hollowed out. How could she do this? I muttered. Jake's hand squeezed hers. You look great, by the way, he said casually, as if I didn't exist. I staggered back a step, my mind screaming. My throat felt raw. My vision blurred. Everything I believed, I whispered, my fists clenching until my knuckles turned white. I wanted to confront them. I wanted answers. I wanted to shout, to demand why, to pull Emily aside and beg her to tell me it wasn't true. But the sight of them together, so comfortable, so familiar, was like a wall I couldn't break through. Alex, I murmured to myself, using my own name to try and ground myself. You need to leave. Now. I turned and walked backward slowly, careful not to draw attention. My head was spinning. I can't face them, I whispered. The betrayal was too sharp, too sudden. Was she happy with me all this time? I muttered, choking on my own disbelief. Was I just a fool? The lights reflected off the glass, pink and red halos dancing around me. My heart ached, a deep, raw ache I couldn't shake. I loved her. I trusted her. My voice cracked. I leaned against the wall for a moment, taking shallow breaths, trying to calm the storm inside me. Anger was building now, smoldering just beneath the hurt. This isn't over, I whispered. It won't be. I took one last look at them through the glass. Emily was smiling at him, her hand in his. My chest tightened and I swallowed the lump in my throat. I'll deal with this, I muttered. On my own terms. Turning away, I walked down the street, my steps heavy, my mind racing. I need air. I need clarity, I whispered to myself. But I couldn't escape the image of them together. I couldn't stop the betrayal from replaying over and over in my mind. Every laugh, every touch, every glance between them felt like a knife twisting in my heart. And as I walked, I realized something I hadn't admitted before. I wasn't just hurt. I was furious. And I wouldn't let this go. Not today. Not ever. I walked the streets without direction, my hands stuffed deep in my coat pockets, the cold air barely registering against the fire burning in my chest. How could she? I whispered under my breath. My footsteps echoed against the empty sidewalks, mixing with the distant hum of city traffic. Alex? A familiar voice called, cautious. I turned to see Ryan jogging up, breath visible in the cold night air. Ryan, I said, forcing a tight smile. Hey. You look like hell, he said bluntly, stopping in front of me. What happened? I shook my head, looking away. Nothing, just tired. Long day. Ryan narrowed his eyes. Cut the crap. You're shaking. Something's wrong. Talk to me. I hesitated, then let out a shaky laugh. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me, he said, arms crossed. You know I'll believe anything about Emily. Or whoever's involved. I ran a hand through my hair, biting my lip. I saw her. Emily. With someone else. Ryan blinked, then frowned. What do you mean, someone else? She was holding his hand, Ryan. Smiling at him, laughing. Like she wasn't mine. Like I never mattered, I said, my voice rising, then cracking. Jesus, Ryan muttered, running a hand down his face. Okay, slow down. When did this happen? Tonight. Valentines, I said, clenching my fists. I just got back from my trip and I stopped, shaking my head. I can't believe it. Ryan put a hand on my shoulder. Hey, look at me. Breathe. It's real, yeah, but don't do anything rash. I pulled away slightly. Rash? I want to. My jaw tightened. I don't know. Confront her? Chase them down? I want answers, Ryan. But my chest, it feels like it's breaking. He nodded slowly. I get it. I really do. But you need to think first. If you storm in, yell, or make a scene, it could backfire. You need clarity, not chaos. I swallowed hard, my throat tight. Clarity feels impossible right now. Everything I believed, everything I trusted, gone in an instant. Ryan exhaled. I know. But listen to me. You've always been smart. You'll figure this out. You just need to calm your storm first. Don't let anger drive you. I kicked at a loose stone on the sidewalk. Anger's all I have right now. And hurt. And betrayal. And I trailed off, shivering despite the coat. Ryan's voice was gentle. I know, man. I know. But if you act on just that anger, you'll lose more than you think. Trust me. I can't just pretend it didn't happen, I said quietly, looking up at the neon lights above the street. They blurred through the haze of my tears. I can't go back to the apartment as if everything's fine. I don't even know what I'm thinking. You're thinking, Ryan said, and that's good. You're not acting blindly. That's progress. Right now, your head's louder than your heart. Use it. I let out a short, bitter laugh. My head, my heart's been ripped out, Ryan. What use is thinking when I can barely breathe? He nodded, understanding. I get it. But you survived this, Alex. That's the first step. Don't give them the satisfaction of seeing you fall apart. Trust me, it's better to plan than explode. I keep seeing them together, I admitted, voice trembling. Holding hands, laughing, looking at each other like everything we had meant nothing. Ryan sighed. I wish I could fix it for you. But I can't. What I can do is make sure you don't destroy yourself in the process. I clenched my fists again, walking a few steps before stopping. I want to confront her. I want to yell. I swallowed, shaking my head. But I can't. Not yet. Not tonight. That's smart, Ryan said. You'll have your chance. Right now, you need to breathe, regroup, and think. You're better than reacting like a hurricane. I laughed dryly. A hurricane, yeah. That's me tonight. Maybe I am. But inside, Ryan, inside it's a storm I can't stop. Memories keep hitting me. Her laugh, her touch, the plans we made. All of it. Poof. Gone. I know, he said quietly. And it hurts. It will. But you're stronger than you think. You'll find your way through. Just take it slow. I looked at him, appreciation mixing with bitterness. Thanks, man. Really. I needed someone to see it. Someone who understands. I do, he said. Always. But don't let her and that guy control your mind. You're better than that. I nodded slowly, taking a deep breath. Okay. I won't act rashly. Not yet. I need to plan. Figure things out. Ryan clapped me on the shoulder. Good. That's all I'm saying. Use this storm. Don't let it use you. I walked on, a little steadier, though my chest still felt tight. I'll plan, I whispered. I'll watch. I'll wait. And when the time comes, they'll see I'm not someone to be crossed. Ryan's voice followed me as he walked beside me. And remember, Alex, I got your back. No matter what. I nodded, a small spark of determination flickering in the storm inside me. Thanks, Ryan. I'll need it. The city stretched ahead, empty streets glowing under the Valentine's lights. My heart still ached, but a seed of resolve was planted. I wouldn't let this betrayal break me. Not completely. Not yet. I waited until Emily left the apartment for work before I started looking. My hands shook as I picked up her bag. Just, look, I whispered to myself. Just a peek. No one has to know. I opened a side pocket and found her phone. Locked. Of course. I frowned. Figures, I muttered. But I'd watched her enough to know her patterns. She always left it unlocked at home. Sliding it open, my chest sank. Messages. Hours of text between her and Jake. Laughing emojis, heart emojis. The casual intimacy she had denied me. I scrolled faster, my eyes stinging. She lied, every single day, I whispered, stomach twisting. A notification popped up. Another message from him. Can't wait to see you tonight. My hands clenched around the phone. Tonight? So this isn't just casual. She's been meeting him behind my back. I sank onto the couch, breathing shallow. Emily, how could you? My voice was bitter, trembling. I could feel my anger building, hot and heavy. A knock at the door made me freeze. I quickly set the phone down and stood. Ryan. I muttered as I opened it. He stepped in, eyebrows raised. I was in the neighborhood. Everything okay? Yeah, I lied, forcing a smile. Just a little tired. Ryan didn't look convinced. Oh, you sure? I nodded, trying to steady my voice. Yeah, everything's fine. Just work stress. Ryan gave me a wary look but didn't push. All right. Just call me if you need to talk. After he left, I went back to the phone. I had to know the full picture. I skimmed through dates, times, locations. Cafes, bars, even a weekend getaway. None of it included me. None of it was innocent. I muttered under my breath. So all those nights she said she was working late, she was with him. My chest tightened. Betrayal settled deep in my bones. I left a cup of coffee on the counter and went into the bedroom. Her laptop. Perhaps the emails or calendar entries would tell more. As I powered it up, I could hear her footsteps outside, faint but deliberate. I froze. My heart hammered. She had returned early. Act normal, I whispered to myself. The door clicked open. Alex. Her voice smooth, casual. You're home early. Yeah, I said lightly, trying to keep my tone neutral. Thought I'd relax a bit. She smiled, leaning against the doorway. That's nice. You've been working so much lately. Yeah, I trailed off, pretending to scroll through my phone. Busy day. Emily tilted her head. You look tense. Everything all right? Sure, I said, keeping my voice calm, masking the storm inside. Just thinking. You know how it is. She nodded slowly, then sat down on the couch across from me. You're being weird. You're different tonight. I looked up at her, eyes steady. Am I? Maybe I just notice things more now. Patterns. Oddities. Little inconsistencies. She laughed softly. You mean you think I lie? I let the words hang in the air. I don't know, maybe. Sometimes people hide things. Sometimes people pretend. Emily's eyes flicked to mine, sharp but measured. Alex, you're imagining things. I would never. I interrupted, letting the phone slip onto my lap, unlocked. Then why these? I said, scrolling through the messages. Her eyes widened just slightly, then narrowed. Alex, that's not what it looks like. Not what it looks like? I repeated, voice cold. Laughing, flirting, meeting at cafes, planning trips. With him? She stood, defensive but composed. It's complicated. I didn't want to hurt you. Didn't want to hurt me? I said, voice rising. Every day you lied. Every smile, every excuse, a lie. And now you call it complicated? She swallowed, looking away for a moment. I didn't know how to stop it. I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. You didn't know how to stop it? You chose to do it. You chose him over me. You still are. Her voice softened, pleading now. Alex, don't, I said firmly, standing. I don't want to hear it. I need time. I need space. And I need to figure out how to make you and him pay for this. Not with violence, but justice. Karma. Her eyes widened, then she lowered her gaze. Alex, please. I can explain. No, I said, voice shaking but steady. I don't want explanations. I want honesty. And for the first time, I realize you are incapable of it. She sat down silent. I could feel the weight of the truth settling in. My trust was gone. My love, tainted. But the fire inside me, the drive to confront what they had done, was rising. I took a deep breath, pacing the living room. This ends, I muttered. They'll see consequences. They'll see what happens when you cross someone who trusted you. And I'll be ready. Emily watched me, silent, pleading, defeated. But my resolve was firm. I wasn't sure how I'd do it yet, but the path was forming in my mind, step by step, like a puzzle falling into place. And for now, I whispered to myself, I stay quiet. Watch. Wait. Plan. The storm inside me raged, silent but deadly, and I knew the world had shifted. Nothing would ever be the same. Emily appeared from the kitchen with a smile, carrying 2 mugs of coffee. Hey, you're home early, she said, setting one down in front of me. Yeah, I muttered, my fingers tapping the edge of the table. Just thought I'd take a break. She leaned forward, eyes soft. You look stressed. I thought maybe this would help. I stared at her, trying to keep my voice calm. Emily, we need to talk. Her smile faltered slightly. Talk about what? You know what? I said sharply. Don't act like you don't. I've seen the messages. I've seen everything. Her eyes widened just a fraction, and she set her mug down carefully. Alex? Stop, I said, voice rising. Don't start lying now. Don't twist your words. I want honesty. Now. She bit her lip, looking away for a moment. I didn't mean for it to happen, she said finally, voice soft. It just did. I repeated, disbelief and fury battling in my chest. You call months of cheating hiding things, did? I was confused, she said quickly. I didn't want to hurt you. I never wanted to hurt you. Confused? I laughed bitterly, shaking my head. You were holding his hand yesterday under the Valentine's lights, Emily. You weren't confused, you were choosing. You chose him over me. Her eyes darted away, a nervous tick I hadn't noticed before. It's complicated, she whispered. Complicated? I slammed my hand on the table, making the mugs rattle. You made it simple. You lied. You manipulated me. You acted like I was the only one, and all the while, you were playing a different game. I didn't think you'd see, she said, her voice trembling slightly. I couldn't hurt you by breaking up. I thought. You thought what? I demanded. That keeping me in the dark while you were with him was better than being honest? That's what you thought. Her hands twisted in her lap. I don't know. I didn't want to lose you completely. I stood abruptly, chair scraping the floor. Lose me completely? Emily, you already did. You lost me the moment you held his hand, the moment you lied to my face, the moment you made me believe in something that never existed. She flinched at my words but didn't back down entirely. Alex, please. You don't understand. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that? I repeated, voice low and dangerous now. You think stringing me along, pretending, lying every day, it wasn't like that? You manipulated me, Emily. You used me. And now you want me to sit here and listen to excuses? Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. I didn't plan for it to go this far. I didn't. I took a deep breath, trying to control the rage that was boiling inside me. No, stop. I don't want your half-truths, your pathetic excuses. You had every opportunity to be honest. You chose deceit. You chose betrayal. And now you're trying to make it my fault I found out. She swallowed hard, voice cracking. Alex, please, I can fix this. I can. You can't fix this. I shouted, my fist trembling. It's broken. It's dead. You killed it, Emily. I trusted you with everything and you. I stopped, voice catching. My chest ached with a mix of fury and heartbreak. You destroyed me. And I can't forgive so easily. She backed up slightly, panic flashing in her eyes. Alex, don't walk away. We can work this out. I love you, I swear. Love me? I laughed hollowly. You don't know what love is. You know how to manipulate, Emily. You know how to lie. That's what you know. Her hands rose defensively. Please, listen. No. I said, cutting her off. I'm done listening. I'm done pretending that your words matter. I've spent months believing in you and it's over. I need space. I need distance. And I need to figure out how to make sure you and him face what you've done. Her voice trembled. Alex, don't. I said no, I interrupted, grabbing my coat. I can't do this now. I can't be near you. Not until I figure out what comes next. Not until I decide how justice is served. Not until I stopped feeling like a fool. Her face went pale. You're leaving? Yes, I said, walking toward the door. I'm leaving. And when I come back, Emily, things will be very different. You and Jake, you'll regret every lie, every touch, every smile that wasn't meant for me. She reached out, but I didn't stop. Alex, please. I can explain. I shook my head without turning. I don't want to hear explanations. I want results. I want consequences, and I'll get them. On my terms. The door clicked behind me as I left. Cold air hit my face, but I barely noticed. My mind raced with plans, schemes, and possibilities. The anger inside me was sharp, like fire, and it fueled every step I took away from her. I muttered to myself as I walked down the street, voice low and determined. This ends on my terms. Not hers. Not his. Mine. And I'll make sure they pay. Karma doesn't forget. I won't forget either. The city lights blurred around me, but my vision was clear. My resolve was solid. Emily's lies had broken my heart, but they had forged my purpose. I wasn't just hurt, I was awake. I wasn't just betrayed, I was ready. And I would make them face the storm I was about to unleash. I sat alone in my car, staring at my phone, scrolling through messages I already knew by heart. You really thought you were clever? I muttered. You both did. My phone buzzed. Ryan's name lit up the screen. You okay? He asked the moment I answered. I'm thinking, I said. That's dangerous, right? He sighed. Thinking is fine. Obsessing isn't. Tell me what you're planning. I'm not planning revenge, I lied smoothly. I'm planning truth. Ryan was quiet for a moment. That sounds like revenge with better branding. I smirked. Call it whatever you want. I call it balance. Alex, he said carefully, I get why you're angry, but don't lose yourself in this. I already lost something, I replied. I'm just deciding what I gain back. I ended the call before he could argue more. I didn't need permission. I needed proof. The next day at work, I kept my voice casual, my face calm. Hey Mark, I said to my coworker as we walked toward the break room. You still play poker with Jake sometimes, right? Mark raised an eyebrow. Yeah. Why? Just curious, I said lightly. He ever talk about relationships? Mark laughed. That guy. Always thinks he's some kind of prize. I forced a chuckle. Sounds like him. He was bragging last month, Mark added. Said he was seeing someone taken, but worth it. My grip tightened on my coffee cup. Did he say who? Mark shrugged. Didn't need to. Showed us pictures. Blonde girl. Pretty. Looked serious. I nodded slowly. You still have those messages? The group chat. Yeah, Mark said. Why? Because, I replied evenly, someone deserves the truth. That night I spread everything out on my kitchen table. Screenshots. Dates. Times. Locations. I talked to myself as I worked, my voice low and steady. Patterns don't lie. People do. My phone buzzed again. Emily's name. I let it ring. Then I answered. Alex, she said softly, can we talk? I smiled to myself. About what? You've been distant, she replied. Cold. I'm just busy, I said. Thinking. Observing. Her voice tightened. You're scaring me. You should be scared of lies, I said calmly. Not silence. She paused. Are you threatening me? No, I answered. I'm learning. I hung up before she could respond. Later, Ryan showed up at my place unannounced. You look different, he said, scanning the room. Focused, I corrected. He pointed at the table. This is a lot, Alex. It's necessary. For what? He asked. Closure? Justice? Or control? I met his gaze. All three. Ryan shook his head. You're walking a thin line. So did she, I replied. She just didn't think she'd fall. You're enjoying this, he said quietly. I didn't deny it. I'm enjoying clarity. Just promise me one thing, Ryan said. When this is over, you'll still recognize yourself. I hesitated. I don't want to be who I was before. Ryan exhaled. That scares me. It should, I said. Because the old me trusted too easily. After he left, I opened my laptop and organized everything into folders. Names. Dates. Screenshots. Witnesses. I wasn't rushing. I was building. I whispered to myself, truth works best when it's undeniable. Emily texted again. Please talk to me. I typed back soon. Jake, unaware, posted a photo online that night. A caption about love. I stared at it, calm and steady. "Thank you," I whispered. "You're helping." I forwarded the image to Mark. He replied instantly. "That's her." "Good," I murmured. The tension wasn't explosive yet. It was tightening like a wire pulled too far. Emily was acting sweeter. Jake was getting bolder. Neither of them realized they were walking exactly where I needed them. I leaned back in my chair, hands folded. "I'm not chasing you," I said aloud. "I'm waiting." My phone buzzed one last time. Ryan again. "Still sure about this?" he asked. "Yes," I said. "Then be careful," he warned. "I will," I replied. Careful is my advantage. When the call ended, I looked at the city lights outside my window. My anger was still there, but it was controlled now, sharpened into purpose. "This isn't rage," I whispered. "This is strategy." And somewhere beneath the Valentine's lights, two people laughed, unaware that the truth was already moving toward them. The Valentine's party was buzzing with laughter and music when I walked in. The lights were soft, pink and red, ironically romantic. I felt every heartbeat like a drum in my chest. "Tonight," I whispered under my breath, "the truth comes out." Emily stood near the center of the room, a glass of wine in hand, laughing with a group of friends. Jake was by her side, smug, confident, completely unaware. I approached slowly, phone in my pocket, screenshots and photos lined up like soldiers ready to attack. "Just breathe," I muttered. "Control the storm." I caught Ryan's eye across the room. He gave me a subtle nod. "Ready?" he mouthed. I took a deep breath and stepped forward. "Emily," I said loud enough for nearby guests to hear. She turned, a practiced smile on her face. "Alex, I didn't expect you here so early. You look tense." "Tense," I said, voice cold, cutting through the music like a blade. "You have no idea." Jake's grin faltered slightly. "What's this about?" he asked, leaning casually against the wall. I pulled my phone from my pocket. "This is about the lies you've been telling," I said, voice steady. "About the betrayal that's been happening right under everyone's noses." Emily laughed nervously. "Alex, what are you talking about?" I swiped the screen, projecting the first image onto the TV in the corner of the room. Everyone gasped as messages between her and Jake appeared. Laughing emojis, heart emojis, secret meetings. "Emily?" I said, pointing at her. "Care to explain this?" Her face paled, her smile gone. "Alex, that's real, isn't it?" I interrupted. "Every word, every photo, every lie?" Jake took a step back, trying to mask his growing discomfort. "Alex, come on, that's private. You can't just." "Private?" I laughed bitterly. "You made it public with your actions. You think I wouldn't notice? That I wouldn't find out?" Guests were whispering now, some taking out phones, others staring in disbelief. Emily opened her mouth, then closed it. "Alex, I can explain." "No," I said firmly. "Not here. Not anymore. The truth is self-explanatory." I swiped to another message, another photo. Him holding her hand under lights that were meant for me. "This one," I said, voice low but resonant, "is from last night. Valentine's. The night I returned, thinking we were going to celebrate our love. Instead you chose him." A stunned silence fell over the room. People turned, whispering. "Is this true?" someone muttered. Emily's eyes darted from guest to guest, panic rising. "Alex, please stop. You're embarrassing me." "You embarrassed me first," I said, pacing slowly. "You took months of my life and trust, you played with my heart, and now you try to act innocent?" Jake's friends were murmuring, some laughing nervously, others shaking their heads in disbelief. "Wow," one muttered. "Never thought he'd get called out like this." Jake's confident mask cracked. "Alex, this isn't fair. You're blowing things out of proportion." I turned on him. "Fair? Fair is seeing everything you did to manipulate and lie, exposed to everyone who ever admired you. Fair is watching the arrogant smirk disappear from your face." He swallowed hard, voice shaky now. "Everyone, it's not what it looks like." "Isn't it?" I said, voice rising. "You held her hand. You planned trips. You laughed while she lied to me every day. And now everyone sees it." People were murmuring louder, pulling closer. Emily tried to grab my arm. "Alex, please. Don't." I shook her off. "No more excuses. No more lies. I trusted you both. And you both shattered me. Publicly. Privately. Completely." Her face crumpled, genuine panic now replacing her practiced composure. "Alex, I didn't." "Stop." I raised my hand. "I don't want explanations. I want acknowledgement. And you have none. Because you don't feel the weight of what you've done. A friend of Jake stepped forward, looking uncomfortable. Dude, really? All this, on Valentines? Yes, I said firmly. On Valentines. Because that's when truth hurts the most. And that's when karma shows its face. Jake's voice cracked. Alex, everyone just, come on. Let's. I ignored him. See this. I said, gesturing to the projection. This is months of deceit. Months of lies. All because you wanted your selfish thrills. And now you stand here pretending nothing happened. Emily's tears were streaming down her face. Alex, please? I shook my head slowly, almost sadly. I should feel vindicated, shouldn't I? Relief, satisfaction. And I do. I feel it. But I also feel hollow. Because love is gone, trust is gone. And that emptiness is mine to bear. Jake's friends had stopped laughing. Some whispered, damn man, he's done. I stepped back, letting the room absorb the silence. Now you understand, I said softly. Your arrogance, your games, your lies, exposed. And yet, I carry the weight of this too. That's the bitter part of truth, isn't it? Emily shook her head, sobbing. Alex, please. I never meant to. Save it, I said. Because nothing you say now can undo what's done. You'll face your consequences, socially, emotionally, wherever this spreads. And I'll live knowing I revealed what was hidden, but I won't pretend I'm unscathed. Jake's arrogance was gone. He avoided eye contact, silent, humiliated. Emily's friends whispered, some offering her confused sympathy, others staring with judgment. I turned to Ryan, who gave me a subtle nod of approval. It's done, he mouthed. I exhaled slowly, my chest heavy. It is. But it feels empty. Justice served, yes, but satisfaction is complicated. Sweet, bitter, all at once. I walked away from the center of the room, letting the chaos unfold behind me. Whispers, shocked expressions, the crack in Jake's confidence, Emily's panicked apologies, everything was happening exactly as it should. And yet, inside me there was no triumph, only a quiet storm of loss and resolve. I had struck the balance I needed, but I knew the road ahead, healing, moving on, reclaiming myself, was only just beginning. Tonight, karma struck. But my own journey, the part where I rebuild from betrayal, is far from over. The city felt quieter after Emily and Jake left. Their absence was almost surreal. No more whispered rumors, no awkward encounters, no smirks from him or false smiles from her. Just silence and a strange calm I wasn't used to. I met Ryan at our usual cafe, the one where we used to joke about everything. You look lighter, he said, sliding into the seat across from me. I feel lighter, I admitted, stirring my coffee slowly. Like a storm passed. But the air, it still smells like ash. Ryan nodded. I get that. You got what you wanted, but it doesn't feel like victory, I finished for him. I have closure, yes. I made them face the consequences, but happiness? That's missing. Ryan leaned back, thoughtful. Closure is bittersweet. You see the truth, you take control, but it's never going to feel like love again. I nodded, staring out the window. I keep remembering her laugh, her touch, the plans we made. It hits me in quiet moments. And I realize revenge, justice, it's not enough to fill that hole. Ryan reached over, gripping my shoulder. Then don't try to fill it. Build something new instead. I smiled faintly. That's the plan. Slowly. I started working out, catching up on projects I ignored, even volunteering a bit. I need purpose outside of this emotional wreckage. And Emily? Ryan asked carefully. I laughed, dry but honest. She's gone. Maybe she regrets it, maybe not. Doesn't matter. I can't chase that. She had her choices, I have mine. A memory flitted through my mind. Emily, voice trembling, trying to explain herself after the party. Alex, I didn't mean to hurt you, she said. I shivered slightly, recalling it. I know, I murmured. But it's too late. Words can't undo months of betrayal. They never can. Ryan raised an eyebrow. You're calm now. That's progress. I'm learning, I said. Learning that anger is temporary but growth lasts. I can't erase the hurt, but I can control what comes next. I took a sip of coffee, savoring the warmth. I thought once I exposed them, I'd feel relief and happiness all at once. Instead, it's a quiet kind of satisfaction. No cheering, no victory lap. Just understanding. I understand the end, I understand myself better, and I understand what I can survive. Ryan smiled. Sounds like you're finally the Alex I know. Stronger, wiser, more strategic. Strategic, yes. But also cautious now, I said, watching a couple laughing at a nearby table. I won't give my heart away blindly again. Not yet. Not to anyone. We sat in silence for a moment, watching the world move around us. I felt a subtle weight lift off my chest, though memories lingered like shadows. You ever hear from her? Ryan asked after a pause. Once, I admitted. A text. Simple. I hope you find happiness. I laughed bitterly. I could reply, but what would I say? Thanks, I'm already rebuilding? She doesn't get a chance to rewrite our story anymore. Ryan chuckled. Good. Let her regret it. You don't need her in your life to validate yourself. I know, I said, my voice firmer now. But part of me still aches when I remember the past. I won't lie. Healing isn't linear. Some days are better. Others, the memories hit hard. Ryan nodded. That's normal. You're human. And being human means carrying pieces of the past while moving forward. I stirred my coffee again, thinking. I've started writing again. Just thoughts, reflections, trying to process everything. Anger, grief, heartbreak, and moments of strange clarity. It helps me see how far I've come. Ryan smiled. I'm proud of you. You've turned pain into something productive. That's growth. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. I miss parts of her. I miss who I thought she was, and I miss me before all of this. But I also see that I can't go back. I can only go forward. And forward looks different. Better maybe. Safer. Ryan raised his cup. To the future then. I clinked mine against his. To the future. And to surviving storms we never thought we would. Walking home later, I passed the Valentines lights, still faintly glowing. I stopped for a moment, staring at them. Memories of Emily flickered. Her smile, her hand in mine, the way she whispered my name. My chest ached, but the pain was quieter now, controlled. I whispered to myself, I'm not bitter anymore. I'm cautious, aware, wiser. And though I'll remember, I won't let it hold me back. Life moves forward even after betrayal. The streets were calm, the city lights reflecting off wet pavement. I felt a subtle shift inside me, anger fading, sadness lingering, but hope quietly rooting itself. Ryan's words echoed in my mind, build something new. Don't fill the hole, create around it. I smiled faintly, tucking my hands in my coat pockets. I'll build, I whispered. I'll grow. And I'll finally find a version of happiness that doesn't depend on someone else's choices. And with that thought, I walked on, leaving the past behind, carrying the lessons, the scars, and the quiet determination to live fully and intentionally in the life I'm reclaiming. I noticed Sophie in the break room first. She was laughing at something small, the kind of laugh that made the world feel lighter. I hesitated, cup of coffee in hand, before approaching. Hey Alex, right? She said, looking up with a warm smile. I'm Sophie. We haven't officially met, have we? No, we haven't, I admitted, forcing a casual tone. Nice to meet you. She tilted her head, curious. You look thoughtful. Everything okay? I laughed lightly, the sound foreign even to me. Yeah, just thinking. You know how work can be. She raised an eyebrow. Thinking or brooding? I smiled faintly. Maybe a little of both. Sophie laughed softly. Careful, brooding men tend to attract too much trouble. I shrugged. Trouble follows me whether I attract it or not. She tilted her head, studying me like she could see past my carefully built walls. You seem different from the usual crowd here. Honest. I like that. I felt a warmth I hadn't in months. Thanks. I guess I've learned a thing or two about honesty, the hard way. Her eyes softened. Hard way can teach the most. Over the next few days we found ourselves talking more, coffee breaks, lunch, even small chats by the printer. Each conversation was cautious, playful, but underneath it I could feel something shifting. You're unusually patient, Sophie said one afternoon. Most people I meet rush to judge. You listen first. I had to learn, I admitted, glancing at her. Sometimes people hide behind smiles. Sometimes I did too. I had to understand the difference between appearances and truth. She nodded thoughtfully. And do you think you've figured it out? I'm getting there, I said, a small smile tugging at my lips. It's a process. I've learned the hard way that trust has to be earned carefully. Sophie smiled, leaning slightly closer. And what about love? Can that be earned carefully too? I paused, caught off guard. Love is trickier. I'm learning the difference between love and obsession. Between infatuation and genuine connection. I want the real thing, but I'm cautious now. Cautious isn't bad, she said. It means you value yourself. You know what you deserve. I studied her face. Empathetic, intelligent, unassuming. I like that perspective, I said softly. Most people would dismiss caution as fear. But it's not. It's awareness. She laughed, light and genuine. Then I'm glad you're aware. I'd like to think people can see the real me too. Already do, I admitted, feeling a bit vulnerable. Her eyes widened slightly, surprise flickering, but she smiled. I'm glad. I was hoping you might. I took a deep breath, realizing how much easier it was to talk to her, how her presence didn't demand, didn't judge. Sophie, I've been through some rough times. Betrayal, heartbreak. I'm not sure I'm ready for whatever this could be. She reached out, a comforting hand on mine. Alex, I'm not asking for anything you're not ready for. I just want to be here. When you're ready. I looked at her, the sincerity in her eyes cutting through the armor I'd built. That's different, I said softly. Different from what I've known. I appreciate it. She squeezed my hand gently. Good. Then we start slow. No pressure. I nodded, a warmth spreading in my chest I hadn't felt in a long time. Slow works. Patience has its merits, I suppose. Exactly, she said with a small laugh. And we get to know each other. No past baggage, just the present. I smiled, feeling cautious optimism bloom. The present? I like that idea. Days passed and our conversations became more personal. We shared stories about our families, favorite books, even childhood memories. I laughed, genuinely, remembering moments I thought were lost. You have a way of seeing people, Sophie said one afternoon. Even when they don't want to be seen. It's comforting. That's the thing, I said softly. I've been unseen for a while. Betrayal teaches you to hide. But meeting someone like you reminds me why I should come out of hiding. Her eyes softened, a quiet understanding between us. I'm glad you did. Later, walking home from work, I felt a subtle peace settle over me. Memories of Emily still lingered, as shadows always do, but they no longer controlled me. I could recall them without crumbling, without burning. I whispered to myself, life moves forward. Slowly, carefully, but it moves. And maybe there's room for happiness again. I glanced at Sophie's text on my phone. Coffee tomorrow? I smiled, typing back, absolutely. And for the first time in months I felt hope. Bittersweet, cautious, but real. A reminder of the past remained, yes, but a new chapter had begun. I looked at the skyline, lights reflecting on the streets. I survived, I whispered. I learned. I grew. And now, I live. Fully, carefully aware. With each step, each conversation, I was moving forward, not just away from betrayal, but toward something genuine, something worth trusting again. The past had shaped me, but it didn't define me. And in Sophie's presence, I glimpsed the possibility of love that healed rather than hurt. For the first time, I didn't just survive, I was ready to live. I walked past the Valentines lights again, the same ones that once lit up my world and then shattered it. A year had passed. The glow was softer now, less about romance and more about memory. Ryan's voice popped into my head. Build around the hole, don't fill it. I smiled faintly. He was right. I hadn't filled it. I had rebuilt. I heard a familiar voice behind me. Alex. I turned to see Sophie, smiling, holding 2 coffees. I thought I'd find you here, she said, handing me one. Thanks, I said. This place, it's symbolic, I guess. She nodded, looking around at the softly blinking lights. I remember last year you told me about everything. How it hurt. I took a sip, letting the warmth settle. It did. It hurt more than I ever thought possible. And I wanted revenge, closure, answers. And you got them, Sophie said softly. But I can tell you also found something else. I laughed lightly. Yeah, myself. I found myself after losing everything I thought mattered. Funny how losing someone can make you finally see what's worth keeping. She studied me, eyes gentle. You're not the same Alex from last year. No, I admitted. I'm better, I think. Stronger. Smarter about people, about love, about myself. I walked slowly, Sophie beside me. I've realized something, revenge, it's satisfying at first. But what really matters is learning to live again. And I'm learning. Slowly, carefully. You're living, she said, her hand brushing mine. And that's what counts. I smiled, looking at her. You know, I never thought I'd trust someone again. Not after her. Sophie's lips curved gently. And yet you do. I do, I said, feeling the truth settle in me. But differently. I'm cautious. I'm aware. I don't give my heart blindly. I notice signs, I listen, I think before I feel. I still love, but I don't lose myself in it. Her eyes softened and she squeezed my hand. That's wise. And rare. I let the moment linger, allowing myself a quiet acknowledgement that I'd grown. The Valentine's lights. They used to sting. Every glow reminded me of betrayal, lies, and heartbreak. But now, I look at them and see how far I've come. They're no longer a trap. They're markers of survival. Sophie smiled, eyes following mine. Markers of strength too. I nodded. Exactly. Strength, patience, resilience. I'm proud of that, proud of myself for not letting anger consume me entirely. For not letting bitterness define me. She laughed softly. You're glowing, Alex. A different kind of light than those bulbs behind you. I chuckled. Maybe I am. A cautious glow, steady. Not blinding but warm. Real. We walked in silence for a while, letting the city hum around us. I reflected on the past year. The betrayal, the heartbreak, the public humiliation I inflicted on Jake and Emily, and the quiet rebuilding of myself. It hadn't been easy. Some nights I relived the pain. Some days I questioned whether I'd ever feel joy again. But I did, I whispered to myself. I learned. I rebuilt. I opened my heart, carefully. Sophie nudged me gently. You've earned happiness, Alex. And you're choosing it. I am, I said, meeting her gaze. And it feels right. Not forced. Not rushed. Just right. I stopped walking and looked back at the Valentine's lights. They twinkled innocently, unaware of the chaos they once symbolized. Thank you, I whispered softly. For everything you taught me. For the lessons, the pain, the growth. I'm done being naive. I'm ready for life. Fully. Sophie squeezed my hand again, her presence steadying. And I'll be here. Walking with you, not in front or behind, but beside. I smiled genuinely, the kind of smile that reached my eyes. I'd like that. For the first time in what felt like forever, I felt peace. Not empty, not bitter, not restless. Just calm. Closure wasn't about erasing the past, it was about learning from it and moving forward with intention. I took a deep breath, feeling the crisp air fill my lungs. I survived, I said quietly, more to myself than anyone. I learned. I grew. And now, I live. Sophie glanced at me. And you shine, Alex. That's the important part. I chuckled, glancing back at the lights one last time. The past will always be there, but it doesn't have to define me. Not anymore. We started walking again, side by side, the lights fading behind us as the city moved forward. And I moved forward too, stronger, wiser, healed enough to trust, careful enough to protect my heart, and ready to embrace whatever life had in store.